Erica Sandoval was the kind of person you might meet in passing and think, she seems really sweet. By all outward appearances, her upbringing was typical, nothing to suggest what she'd one day be capable of. She fell in love like anyone else, dreamed of a stable home, children, a future. But something went terribly wrong. When Erica met Officer Daniel Green, she was smitten. She gushed about the color of his eyes and how kind he was. Daniel, a respected member of the Exeter Police Department in Central California, had simple desires. He wanted a family, peace, and purpose. And for a brief moment, it seemed he had found all of that with Erica. Daniel's twin brother, Matt Green, and his sister, Misty Gray, remember the early days clearly. Erica wanted stability, Daniel wanted a family. It made sense, said Matt. But underneath that picture-perfect start was a relationship riddled with toxicity. The good times were good, Misty said, but when things didn't go Erica's way, it turned really ugly. And ugly is putting it lightly. Erica vandalized their home, slicing mattresses and couch cushions, stabbing holes in walls, and smearing syrup across the carpet in childish rage. It was as if she wanted to destroy everything they built together, piece by piece. Daniel confided in his siblings and friends about the emotional abuse he endured. But he stayed, trying to hold it all together. Daniel Green loved being a police officer. He was deeply committed to serving his community. On February 6, 2015, he was scheduled to work a shift. When he didn't show up, his co-workers grew worried. His supervisor called his twin brother Matt. He couldn't say the words, Misty recalled. He just said, "I can't." That's when I knew Daniel was gone. That afternoon, police discovered Daniel's body in the bathroom of his home. He'd been shot 4 times, including once in the forehead. His body had fallen back into the bathtub. He was murdered while sitting on the toilet, ambushed at his most vulnerable moment. The case shocked not just the small town of Exeter, but the entire law enforcement community. No neighbors heard gunshots. There were no signs of forced entry, and the murder weapon was gone. Initially, it looked like a professional hit. Investigators immediately turned their attention to Erica. The couple had divorced years earlier, but still shared custody of their son, Aiden. Erica showed up at the scene in tears and told police she hadn't seen Daniel that day. It didn't add up. Matt and Misty were stunned. "I didn't want to believe it was her," Misty said. "I'd seen them together just a month before, and everything seemed fine. But nothing was fine." Erica and Daniel had been trapped in a cycle of manipulation, emotional abuse, and unresolved trauma. Daniel had grown up protecting his younger siblings from their abusive stepfather. Now, as a grown man, he found himself in a similarly abusive dynamic. But this time, he was the victim. Daniel had even told friends about how Erica once cut the brake lines on his motorcycle. He suspected it was her, but he never reported it to police. Another time, she allegedly held a gun to his head after dreaming he had cheated. Still, he stayed, for Aiden's sake and perhaps out of hope that Erica would change. When Erica got pregnant shortly after their divorce, Daniel allowed her to move back in. Despite the dysfunction, there were fleeting moments of peace. Daniel sold his beloved motorcycle and focused on fatherhood. Aiden was the center of his world, but the happiness didn't last. By mid-2013, Erica had moved out, taking Aiden with her. The battle for custody turned bitter. In court records, Daniel and Erica's text messages were full of venom, accusations, insults, desperation. It was all there. And still, despite everything, the two continued to sleep together, on and off. In fall 2014, just months before Daniel's murder, he told a friend that Erica had pointed a gun at him while he was sleeping. She said she would kill him if he ever left her. It wasn't just a threat. It was a chilling preview of what was to come. Then Daniel started dating someone new, a 20-year-old named Brenda. He posted a photo of them on Instagram. For Erica, it was the final straw. On February 6, 2015, Daniel dropped off Aiden at Erica's mother's house and went to the gym. Shortly after he returned home, he was murdered. Police quickly zeroed in on Erica. Her story changed multiple times. Initially, She denied being at Daniel's house, but surveillance footage from a neighbor's security camera suggested otherwise. Under pressure, she confessed, leading detectives to a field where she had buried the murder weapon, a 9mm handgun belonging to Daniel. Erica was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. The case took nearly 5 years to go to trial, finally beginning in October 2019. Prosecutors painted Erica as a cold-blooded killer, driven by jealousy and a need for control. Assistant District Attorney David Alavesos argued that the murder was an execution, planned, personal, and deliberate. The prosecution's narrative suggested that Erica had meticulously plotted Brenda's death, fueled by resentment and a desire to eliminate her romantic rival. The lengthy delay before the trial only added to the tension, as both sides prepared to present their versions of what had happened on that fateful night in 2014. The evidence against Erica appeared overwhelming. Prosecutors highlighted the 167 calls she had made to Daniel in the days leading up to the murder, suggesting an obsessive fixation. They also pointed to the sticky note found in her purse which bore Brenda's name and birth year, implying premeditation. Most damning of all was the gun, which forensic evidence linked to the crime scene. The prosecution argued that these details proved Erica had not acted in the heat of the moment, but had instead carefully planned Brenda's killing. To the jury, it seemed like an open and shut case of first-degree murder. However, the defense team, led by attorney Dan Chambers, completely shifted the focus of the trial. Instead of allowing Erica to be painted as the sole villain, they turned the spotlight on Daniel, portraying him as an abusive and manipulative figure. Chambers argued that Daniel had psychologically tormented Erica, pushing her to a breaking point. The defense introduced audio recordings Daniel had secretly made of Erica's emotional outbursts, suggesting these were the reactions of a woman pushed to the edge by relentless emotional abuse. Their strategy was clear: to frame Erica's actions as those of a desperate woman fearing for her life and the safety of her son, Aiden. The defense's argument hinged on the idea of self-defense and diminished capacity due to prolonged abuse. They claimed that Erica had been trapped in a cycle of control and intimidation, leaving her with no other way to escape Daniel's influence. Witnesses were called to testify about Daniel's behavior, painting a picture of a man who had systematically eroded Erica's mental stability. The defense's goal was not just to create reasonable doubt, but to reposition the entire narrative, transforming Erica from a calculated killer into a victim driven to extremes. It was a risky strategy, but one that could potentially sway the jury's sympathies. As the trial progressed, the courtroom became a battleground of competing narratives. The prosecution insisted that no amount of alleged abuse justified premeditated murder, while the defense maintained that Erica's actions were a tragic result of sustained psychological torment. The jury was left to weigh the damning physical evidence against the emotional testimony about Erica's state of mind. The case was no longer just about who pulled the trigger. It was about accountability, manipulation, and the blurred lines between victim and perpetrator. The outcome would hinge on whether the jury believed Erica's fear was genuine enough to mitigate her culpability in Brenda's death. Under cross-examination, she remained defiant. She said she regretted the murder, but not enough to accept full responsibility. She claimed she was protecting her son. The jury deliberated for 4 days but couldn't reach a unanimous decision. 11 jurors voted guilty of first-degree murder. 1 did not. A mistrial was declared. 3 jurors later came forward saying the lone holdout never gave a valid reason for her refusal. Emotions ran high in the deliberation room, screaming matches erupted. But nothing changed. The case was left in limbo. Daniel's family was devastated. "There's a hole in our lives that will never be filled," Misty said. But out of the tragedy came one act of healing. After Erica's parental rights were terminated, Matt and his wife adopted Aiden. "To raise Daniel's son was never a question," Matt said. "The least I could do is make sure he knows how much his father loved him. For now, Erica Sandoval awaits a new trial, but the damage is already done. Daniel Green, a beloved son, brother, father, and police officer, was murdered in cold blood by someone he once trusted with his life. And no matter what happens next, the echoes of that crime will never fade. The jury's verdict may have closed the case, but the questions remain. Was Erica a murderer or a victim? Did justice prevail, or did the system fail? Some stories don't have clear endings, only truths too tangled to unravel. Want more true crime deep dives? Like, share, and subscribe for cases that will keep you questioning long after the trial ends.